mabilis niya itong matatapos. Nang hindi lang kung anong ibinigay sa amin, yun lang din ang pinasa namin. Inaayos namin to para itama. Marami ho akong advokasya sa pangkalusugan. And I'm thankful that the Speaker included me in the committee because there are things that I would like to be amended in relation to the budget of the Department of Health, in relation to PhilHealth, at kung ano pa ho yung mga pangangailangan. So, I have nothing to say against the camp of Congressman Lord Velasco, except that kung yung trabaho sa budget ang pag-uusapan, nagawa namin yung trabaho namin. Bagamat natapos kami nang hindi umabot doon sa sinasabi lang date, gusto nila October 14 pa, nagawa namin to. Napaliwanag ni Deputy Speaker Gonzales, Deputy Speaker Villafuerte, kung ano pa yung mga proseso. At yung Senado naman, pwede naman nila magawa yung trabaho nila na hindi ituro ang Kongreso na ito ang magiging rason para sa isang delay. We are all doing our best to do our jobs and we hope that we try to avoid hitting and tainting the institution of Congress in this leadership fight. And yun nga, panawagan ko dun sa kampo ng kabila, di mag-usap-usap at sinabi nga ng DSLA, tingnan natin yung numero. Huwag na tayo mag-away because hindi naman to dapat kami, hindi to si Mike Defensor, si Gonzales, si Villafuerte, kung hindi yung Kongreso na bilang institusyon. Maraming mga bago sa amin, maraming mga first-termers. Kawawa naman, hindi naman sila dapat maapektuhan nito.
Ang appeal ko lang doon sa mga members of the House na nag-advocate that there should be equal distribution of the budget sa lahat ng mga distrito. Wag naman, because if we are mature enough and statesman enough to understand the budget, hindi naman pwede na ang budget na supposedly 4 trillion, paghati-hatian namin mga congressman. Hindi naman pwede yun. Hindi naman pwedeng kongreso lang ang mag-direct ng expenditure niyan. What's going to happen with the priorities of the executive? May sariling priority ang executive eh. Now, iba-iba rin ang pangangailangan ng mga congressman sa kanya-kanyang mga distrito. Yung capacity mo rin for the implementation of yung program na gusto mo sa distrito, ibang usapan din yan. Sino ang congressman na aayaw na mapunta sa kanya lahat ng budget? Pero ang katotohanan, hindi pwede mangyari yan eh. Because your capacity ng iyong distrito, ng mga department ng DPWH to implement the project na bababa sa iyo. Katulad ko, Mandaluyong, ano ba ako? Katulad ni Mike, nung siya ay 3rd District Congressman. Nasa urban kami. Meron ba kaming farm to market road? Meron ba kaming ports and airports? Meron ba kaming mga pier? Meron ba kaming mga irrigation? Meron ba kami agriculture? Meron ba kami kung ano-ano dyan sa mga probinsya? Wala kami noon. Hindi naman nangangahulugan porket ang isang distrito na bigyan, let us say, ng airport na ganito, port dahil meron siyang sea, meron siyang kailangan sa airport na wala naman akong ganon, hindi naman porket meron siyang ganyan, tapatan mo rin ako na para mag-equal kami. No. According to the needs din at kailangan din naman tayo, meron din naman tayo sense o level of satisfaction natin na realizing ako hindi ko naman pinatatango sa ilong ko no. Tango ito eh. Pero ang ibig ko sabihin, gustuhin ko man na marami kong proyekto pero naiintindihan ko deep in my heart na mas marami mga distrito sa akin na nangangailangan kaya okay lang. Kahit naman majority leader ako, can you just imagine when I was majority leader noong 15th Congress noong time ni SB. Nagulat ako. As a majority leader, magkano ang aking net ng DPWH for my district? Less than 30 million. Magkano ang aking yung si Chicoy Alvarez na aking assistant majority leader sa Palawan? 7 billion. 7 billion, magagalit ba ako dahil siya ay 7 billion? Maiinggit ba ako? No. Nung malaman ko bakit siya 7 billion, kasi merong national program ang ating gobyerno, convergence, tourism convergence eh. Lahat ng mga ginastusan yung dahil meron tayong nagka-campaign tayo sa underground river na tourism. So pinondohan ng gobyerno, ports, mga widening ng mga roads na dati para makapag-widen ang national government ng mga barangay, municipal or provincial roads, kailangan i-convert mo pa ito na national? No. Ang ginawa dati noon, basta going to yung mga tourism development site, gobyerno na ang gumastos ito. Kaya malaki ang kanyang pondo. And I don't take it against him. At hindi ako magsasabi, oy, ano ba kayo? Ano ko lang yan, assistant ko lang yan. Bigyan nyo rin ako 7 billion? No. Siyempre, ano ka rin sa mga eskwelahan. Pero definitely, hindi pwede magpantay-pantayan because iba-iba ang pangangailangan ng mga kanya-kanya mga distrito.
Boss,
Thank
si
you po.
Majority Leader Martin pumasok. Romualdez. Martin. Wala.
Shall we continue, sir?
Yeah, si Martin lang is there. I thought he wanted to give a statement.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sir Dave. Next on our list is Sir Erwin Aguilon of Radio Inquirer. Sir Erwin.
Good afternoon po. Follow up lang ako kay Kong Boyet doon sa question ni Dave kanina. Kasi nga po sinasabi na pwede raw po na mag-elect ang majority na para kay Congressman Lord. So, in the event po, pwede po ba sila na halimbawa pupunta sila ng plenary tapos may Zoom session din sila?
Pumasok, sige. Okay.
Pwede po ba 'yon?
Sige. Alright, thanks. Bye-bye.
I-honor po ba 'yon katulad nung nangyari nung pinatalo si dating Speaker Alvarez? Ganun po yung nangyari, may sitting speaker noon.
Well, katulad ng nasabi ko, naka-adjourn na ang session, sarado ang plenary. Hindi ko alam paano sila magkakaroon ng access doon. Maraming mga kailangan na para sila ay makapag-session. It will be an illegal session dahil insofar as the House is concerned, nakasuspend ang session until November 16. Hanggang November 16 ang balik na. So, palagay ko lang yan para yung mga media hype lang yan na it's very, hindi ko alam as to how they will be able to do that. One thing is definitely sure ang sa akin, ang speakership right palagi pakitaan ng tao yan so far ang nangyayari ngayon panay media hype sila na meron kaming tao rito, yan na kami, majority, pero that's one thing. It's another thing na makita yung mga tao na yan. And under a pandemic situation na hirap dati ang ginagawa dati para makita ng mga members mo na meron ka talagang tao, nag-host ka talaga ng malakihang mga gatherings, yung sa restaurant, para nakikita ng mga tao sino ba yung sinasabi. Hindi pwedeng amin to yan. Ito na listahan. Kailangan makita pero under a situation na saan ka magbi-meeting ng para ipakita mo na may mga tao sila. Unlike what happened kay Speaker, when his offer to resign was rejected, talaga may tao. Nagpakita talaga ng tao. It's very difficult na mawala yung tao na yan. They can, hindi ko alam kung paano iniisip nila, maaring kathang isip lamang yan, pero I really do not, I cannot think of any possible way how they can do that. Hindi ko talaga makita. Pare lang yan parang theoretical ba na wala talaga kasagutan.
Next question ko po kay Kong El Rey siguro or kahit sino po sa inyo. Yun daw pong reason behind sa pagpapasuspend ng session ng maaga kasi nga po yung calendar nyo ay hanggang October 14 kasi parang quote-unquote natatakot. Wala raw po kasing number sa side ni Speaker Cayetano.
Well, ang simple sagot ko dyan, simple lang eh. Sinabi ni Lord Velasco, September 30, dapat mag-step down. Nag-step down si Speaker Alan, September 30, nag-resign siya. May numero, may boto, may pirma. Tama po si Boyet na they support Speaker Alan. Nag-nominal voting na nandun po yung bodies. Sabi nila sa amin, diniderail yung budget. Sabi ni Congressman Lord, i-approve niya as is pag siya speaker. O in-approve namin. Ngayon, sinasabi ni railroad. I think at this point, whether takot or something. Again, going back to the challenge, let's focus on the budget. Then if they want to get the numbers, show it to the media, show it to your colleagues. Nagtatawag po si Congressman Lord ng mga lunch meeting and walang pupunta. Even Zoom meetings niya, nafe-feel niya, minsan 5 lang, walang 10. I think if the media really wants to highlight the numbers as they're claiming, I think ask from them who are these people. Kami malinaw yung 205 nilabas sa media yon, nakita nyo kung sino po yon. And then yung sa 184 na-release rin sa media kung sino yon, excluding Atienza. So malinaw po kung sino nag-support kay Speaker. Unless ang numbers ni Lord Velasco, yun na nga, sinasama niya yung mga hindi naman members of Congress. So again, I ask the media, if ever Congressman Atienza or the Velasco camp make statements like this, siguro they should come out with who are these people? And yung nagbotohan wala ni isang tumayo para sa kanya. In fact, there were supporters of Congressman Velasco on the floor during that time, and not one of them stood up, objected, and supported Velasco. Yung yung nag-resign si Speaker, easily I saw like 3 or 4 supporters of Velasco on the floor na did not even bother to stand up for their kay Congressman Lord. So wala po talagang numero sila.
Anyway, let's not forget that these are two separate issues. One, validity of the approval on second reading of the budget. Diba? As far as we are concerned, tapos na yun. Because procedurally, we've done that in accordance with the rules. So we created a small committee, then approved na on second reading subject to the amendments to be processed by the small committee. And then we'll go on third readings on November 16th. That is a separate issue. As to another issue of the speakership, it is a parliamentary warfare. So then should din natin as we have followed the rules in approving on second reading the budget, then let us follow the rules in unseating the speaker, electing a new speaker, and you can only do that sa plenary. That is a separate issue. Yun, doon kami maghaharap. Then we are ready na harapin sila in a parliamentary warfare that will elect or that will dislodge Speaker Alan as the speaker and electing a new one. Magkaibang issue yan, magkaibang issue.
Sir, last question ko po. Yun pong yung bagong regudon po dito sa Kamara, nakikita talaga dito po ay politika sa labanan sa kampo ni Speaker Cayetano at saka ni Congressman Velasco.
You may call it that way, but that is the prerogative of the majority coalition. Yun ang prerogative niya. Kaya nga, ang election of any member, whether you are the chairman or a member of the committee of members belonging to the majority coalition, is not subject to a vote. Kasi that's the prerogative of the majority. Whatever reason it may be, that is the prerogative of the majority coalition.
Ako naman, Edwin, just to add to that, di ba nalinaw naman ni Speaker yan nasabi niya, ako, dalawa dyan, talagang kasama ko sa committee, and nung nagkaroon kami doon sa party list, sa coalition, nagkaroon din ng debate dyan, and pinapaliwanag ko nga doon sa mga bago, that even in the blocks, no, for example, the party list block, NPC, PDP, uh, Lakas, Liberal, ang discussion usually dyan is they talk with the speaker, we have the slot, and sino ba yung acceptable kay speaker? Because at any rate, siya na rin naman yung mapapatakbo talaga ng Kongreso. In this case, the speaker qualified his statement. Ang sabi nga niya, parang nagkaroon ng, wala akong problema kung hindi niyo ako gusto, trabaho tayo, pero yun nga, parang wag naman tayo maging partisan sa laban na to. And I think in many ways, the vote would reflect that. Kasi, di ba, kung titingnan nyo, and I explained this, in the case of PDP, you now have two deputy speakers, Don Gonzales, who was the general in the campaign of Congressman Lord, and Johnny Pimentel, who also helped Speaker Alan Cayetano. Sa Liberal Party, Stella Kimbo, Kit Belmonte, talagang alam ko naman, maghiwalay-walay siguro pagdating ng election, but the speaker respects them and they continue to function as to the committees that they were assigned. Nung ako, alam ni Boyet to, siguro ako ang pinakahuling nagka-committee eh. Ilang buwan bago na-form na yung organization ng Kongreso, pero tanggap ko yun eh. Kasi alam ko naman, I was an active campaigner of Majo Martin Romualdez. And that is the prerogative of the speaker. Tingin ko, yun nga, ibahin natin yung trabaho, ibahin natin yung politika. In this particular case, pininiwalag naman ni speaker, hindi naman to dahil sa trabaho, kundi nagkaroon na ng konting politika talaga. And as to, ito ba'y major revamp ng Kongreso? Not necessarily, kasi marami pa rin namang, who did not support Alan Cayetano during his speakership fight, who are holding on to major committees, who are now currently part of the leadership of the House. And for that, you have to respect Speaker Alan Cayetano.
Thank you po. Salamat po.
Thank you, Sir Erwin. Next is Terence Grana from AFP Radio. Okay, Terence.
Yes. Malinaw na ako dyan? Hello?
Yes, kay Terence. Malinaw po.
Okay. Thank you very much. Para sa lahat ito, itong question ko, ang House leadership ay nagiging committed to make the budget deliberations open and transparent. With these developments ngayon, can we assure the public that they will still be updated with the amendments to be finalized by, yun ang tanong ko. Hello?
Yes, Terence.
Yes.
Kanina nabanggit naman nila, Boyd, yung naging process. Yung budget na gagawin, di ba? Individual amendments will now be, first, nagsimula kami September 4. Lahat ng pinagdibatian, maraming tanong sa floor sa ngayon, natanong na rin during the committee deliberations. And I'm a witness to that kasi ako din naman kaya pagdating sa plenary, hindi na ako masyado nagtanong kasi marami na akong itinanong. Doon sa committee deliberations, nagkaroon pa ng committee briefings before that. Iba-iba kasi alam naman ng mga committee chairman kung ano yung may mga maraming tanong at maraming problema sa mga iba't ibang departamento. Pagdating dito sa individual amendments, of course, we will accommodate. Ako marami na rin kumausap. Mike, pwede ba namin ipasa sa'yo? Okay. And eventually, itong process na to will be open to everyone. Sa Senate, papasok pa rin to. Magkakaroon pa kami ng BICAM at magkakaroon ng final approval of the bill. So, are we transparent? We have always been transparent. Napabilis lang. Pero kung transparency ang pinagtatanungan, pinag-uusapan, ginagawa naman lahat. At nakita ko naman, kasi nung una, DSL Ray, DS Boyet, medyo nabilisan ako nung first pagpasok natin ng July eh. But I cannot fault the leadership kasi maraming bago. Pero itong second approval ng budget, even previous to the actual submission to the Appropriations Committee, nagkaroon ng mga iba't ibang pag-uusap at briefing yung mga departamento. And I'm very happy for the members, for the new members, kasi marami doon na talagang nagkaroon ng orientation, nakapagtanong sila sa sarili nila. And I credit the leadership and the committee chairpersons and the APRO committee for all this, for all the tasks that they have done on this budget.
If I may add, no, based on track record, yung last budget, 2020, ang daming accusation ng pork and park funds. And the speaker assured walang pork, walang park. It's already October now, napasa yung budget. Wala na yung accusation ng pork and park up to this day. That means the day that the GAB was approved and turned into a law, naging GAA, wala naman talagang park and pork funds. The same way na mangyari itong 2021, walang pork funds, walang park, transparent, and it's open for scrutiny starting from day one to the time it will be approved as a law. So that's the assurance we want to give to the public. Na while there are always questions during the deliberations, at the end of the day, the instrument is transparent for people to scrutinize on when it becomes a law. But again, bago maging batas yan, talagang open, transparent po ang mechanism. In fact, for the first time, binuksan po ni Speaker Alan na even non-members of Congress can ask questions, not through Facebook Live, but even through Zoom meetings. Na nakita naman nyo, that's an innovation. That's the desire of the Speaker to make the process more transparent and accountable.
Okay. Next question ko po ay yung base sa yung spokesman ng Palasyo. Malacanang was happy with the passage of the 2021 budget on second reading. With this development, do you think that the moves of Congressman Velasco to be a speaker is now dead in the waters?
Well, para sa akin kasi people first, politics later muna tayo, ha? Ipasa muna natin yung budget. If Lord really wants to be speaker this term or the next term or in the future, he should show to the Filipino people why he deserves to be speaker. First, ano ba ang stand niya sa budget? He just keeps invoking na kailangan palabra de honor, gentleman's agreement. But I'm still waiting for him. Ano ba input niya sa budget? As a congressman, ano ba ang gusto niyang amendment sa budget? I'm still waiting for that. So dapat, unahin muna natin ang budget. At kung meron tayong intramurals later na yan, that's second priority. Ayusin muna natin yung budget and we feel it and we are confident that we will pass this on time as scheduled, November 17. Technically, almost the same time that we promised. We are not thinking of a scenario na magkakaroon ng reenacted. If the Senate continues to work at their own pace now, mapapasa nila yan. But if they choose to work at a faster pace, I think baka mapaaga pa. So, again, usipin muna natin people first, politics later. That's the request.
Okay, that was my last question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Peter. Next on our list is Ms. Mara of Rappler. Mara Cepeda of Rappler. Ms. Mara.
Good afternoon, sirs. I know this was already raised earlier, but siguro to end the accusations once and for all, what was the reason for the suspension of the session until November 16? And how will you respond to criticisms that the underlying reason for that was precisely to bar the Velasco bloc from forcing an election that would put Velasco as the speaker?
Well, again, ang primordial interest talaga, people first, politics later, budget first, speakership later. Kung gusto ni Lord Velasco unahin ng his ambition, desire to be speaker, that's his prerogative. Again, it's a numbers game. Mara, if they had the numbers yesterday, the other day, they would have pushed for it. And they don't, wala naman silang numero leading to the 2014, October 14. Why? Again, as mentioned earlier, sabi nila meron raw silang 154. Anong basis? 54 party list. Over 30 party list support speaker. So they easily have what? 19, 20? Then 665 raw ang PDP Laban. Their numbers are incorrect because I think PDP Laban has only 58 and more than 30 is for Speaker Alan. So what? They have 25 plus 20, 45. Then they say NPC raw has 35, but a few members already signed the manifesto for Speaker Alan. But even that, bigyan na natin yung 35. So that's easily what? 75. Ngayon, in fact, even the 75, nasa na yung numero na yan. So again, the talks leading to the October 15 is just pure saywar, hearsay. Ano yan eh? Ano yan? Kumbaga ano tawag dyan? Kumbaga they're just testing the reaction of their colleagues. But at the end of the day, numero pa rin talaga.
Una, Mara, ang ganda ng aso mo.
Thank you, sir.
Again, I'd like to reiterate yung sinabi ni Deputy Speaker Boyet, no? Ibahin natin yung trabaho, ibahin natin yung sabihin na natin yung tactics in the fight. As far as the budget is concerned, we did our job. We approved it already and we will continue to work. Si DSL Ray will be one of the people spearheading the committee para dun sa mga amendments. So hindi pa kami tapos sa trabaho. Nung nandyan ako sa Congress, inabot ko yan, kasama ko na si Boyet at that time. Boyet was, kami yung mga bata noon. Nagkaroon ng kaguluhan. If you recall, Boyet, yung impeachment articles. Ang ginawa ni Speaker Manny Villar, opening prayer, siya yung nagdasal. And from the prayer, bigla niya sinubmit yung article sa Senado. Technically, na-impeach si Pangulo at the time because we already had the signatures. So, that was political. No? And it was part of yung, nakita nila, yung butas sa proseso ng rules. Kaya dapat to si Boyd, kakampi mo parati to, nakakatakot to pagka nasa kabila. Alam nito yung rules. Ito yung mga gumawa ng ito yung gumawa ng rules talaga from day one eh. And then after that, nagkaroon ng pagpapalit. Speaker Sani Belmonte was to become Speaker of the House. I think, Boyet, you became the majority floor leader even that time. Nung 11. Hindi, si Serge ata. Tama, ikaw ata.
Pero si Serge Apostol.
Oo. So, nag-majority ako sa iyo noon dahil ikaw ang senior deputy na at the time. And Congressman Speaker Fuentebella was also trying to maneuver. Ayaw niya na may tao sa floor, ayaw niya may ganito. So, part ng proseso talaga yon sa parliamentary tactics. Yun lang ang sinasabi ko lang, kasama naman itong lahat sa mga taktika, kasama itong lahat sa mga proseso. Huwag naman tamaan yung institusyon ng Kongreso. Pagdating doon sa trabaho, gawin namin yung trabaho namin. If I were in the shoes of the other group, from day one, I would be on the floor. I would be active. I would be part of the entire process. Magmula pa sa COVID. Kasi di ba, it's not so much about electing someone, pati yung trabaho eh. Boyet, El Rey, araw-araw nandyan yan sa Kongreso. Nakikita ko yan. Si Boyet nga, nasa senior citizen na, comorbidity, nandun pa rin. Nagpapakita, nagtatrabaho. No? Napakasisipag nung, and I can name about 10 to 20 more. No? Huwag na tayo mag-usap ng galing. Yung sipag na lang nandyan sa Kongreso. And, so that also, in the ongoings of the House, we know what's happening. We know the processes. For example, kahapon, nagdebate sila. Sabi nila, do we now adjourn or do we now suspend? And Boyet was there. He was explaining, no. Kasi ang legislative calendar ganito, marami pa tayong kailangan ayusin for the Bayanihan Part 2. So therefore, this is the process. And, doon mo lang malalaman yung anong dapat gawin at anong mangyayari kung nandoon ka sa mismong floor at alam mo yung nangyayari in plenary.
But sir, there are unique circumstances now that gives you the speaker and the speaker's allies the upper hand. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, because of physical distancing, only a limited number of congressmen are allowed to enter the plenary hall. And we know yung pagpasok dito, hindi lang sila pwede basta-basta, may ipapaalam dapat yan si leadership. Pati sir, sa Zoom, there are reports, particularly from Congressman Lito Atienza, that they were trying to unmute themselves during the Zoom session yesterday, but hindi they couldn't speak up. So how would we respond to allegations that you are using legally, accepted procedures to the detriment of the Velasco block, so they cannot make any oppositions to any of the motions yesterday?
Ako naman, the rules governing the virtual session was not designed para against the Velasco group. It was not designed for that. It was designed to make Congress respond to its legislative task. Na because of the COVID, because of the pandemic, because of the health and quarantine protocols na nililimit ang because of marami sa mga congressman ang immunocompromised, and I'm one of them na kasi diabetic ako, then we are forced by circumstance na ganito ang mangyari. What's the alternative? Tell me. Tanungin natin sa kanila. Kila Lito na palagi nag-question ng ganitong sistema. Would we rather stop the proceeding? Tigilan na natin muna to. Hintayin na muna natin matapos ang pandemic so that magkaroon tayo ng physical session. Huwag na muna tayo magtrabaho. Huwag na muna tayo magpasa ng mga meaningful na batas katulad ng Bayanihan 1 Act, Bayanihan 2 dahil hindi pa pwede na mga Zoom session. Ganun ba ang gusto natin mangyari? Ang tingin namin, yung ganung pananaw, yung pananaw ng tamad yun eh. Pananaw ng ayaw magtrabaho. Samantalang sa pangunguna ni Speaker Alan, Majority Leader si Martin Romualdez, gumawa ng kapaparaanan na tinanggap naman bilang proseso ng plenaryo para nga makarespond ang mambabatas sa kanyang tungkulin. Totoo, sa Zoom, talagang muted lahat. Can you just imagine na kung i-unmute mo yan, kuminsan nga nakikita mo sa mute pag nanonood na, kasi madalas ako nakamute ako, nakikita mo yung mga congressman may kausap sa telepono, may kausap na ganyan, kichismisan, nagtatawanan. Ganyan, just imagine itong noise na to will be broadcasted simultaneously na hindi matatapos. Pero does the Zoom session prevent members from participating in the deliberation, in the committee, in the session? Tanungin natin lahat ng mga makabayan. Ang pinakamaraming partisipasyon na ginagawa sa mga Zoom session ay makabayan. Ba't hindi nagre-reklamo itong mga to? Bakit wag mo sabihin, sila yung mga oposisyon to, kung gusto namin pigilin dahil alam naman natin hindi naman papanig sabi yan, sila pa lang mismo hindi na sila makakapasok, pero sila they are complying with the requirements provided for in a Zoom conference or in a Zoom meeting or in a Zoom session, because bago magsimula ang session, nagbibigay naman ng secretariat kung gusto mo mag-manifest, gusto mo mag-interpellate, kung gusto mong mag-point of order, kung gusto mong other motion, merong inilagay na contact person doon at number para yun ang tatawagan mo. Pero hindi pwede sa Zoom conference na magsisigaw ka dyan dahil hindi ka talaga ma-unmute because yun talaga ang naging patakaran.
Mara, may nangyari kasi nung last time nung nag-motion ako to the offer of resignation of the speaker. Ang tumayo si Ace, kung nare-recall mo, sabi ni Ace, teka, walang nag-object, unanimous na yan. Hindi ako nakasagot dahil based on the rules, gano'n naman talaga. Pero biglang pumasok yung objection ni Congressman Arnie Teves. Ngayon lumapit sa presiding officer at sa majority leader at that time, sabi ko, uy, teka lang, merong objection si Kong Arnie. So, to make the long story short, sabi niya sa akin, after the session, he called me up, sabi niya, Mike, sabi niya, nagpo-point of order ako. Sabi ko, Arnie, hindi ko nakita kasi ang nakita ko lang, nag-object ka sa Viber. Hindi ka nag-raise ng point of order. Of course, understandably, And I said sorry to him. No? So sabi ko, sorry Arnie, hindi ko nakita eh. Because ako yung nandun sa podium nagsasalita. But if I had seen it, I would have called attention. And I think naman yung secretariat very ano sila responsive. Pag nakita lang may objection, point of order, sinasabi nila kaagad, no? Pero following the logic, their logic on this, Mara kung sa totoo lang, wala na kami session habang may COVID. Eh gaano katagal to? Eh di talagang lalo pang hindi lang November, eh pwede pang patagalin talaga ng speaker to. Hanggang, eh kung 2022 nagka-vaccine, paano na? Di ba? I mean, following that logic, if we do not have a speaker, if we do not have sessions, then we cannot vote for a speaker. Then therefore, Speaker Alan can stay there as long as he wants without fault dahil naman may COVID following the logic that they are propounding.
Okay. Sir, one final question from me. This is on another matter. 3 committee chairpersons were removed from their post yesterday. 2 of them particularly were surprised that they were removed, si Congresswoman Helen Tan and Congressman Eric Martinez. Congresswoman Sharon Green, of course, said she expected it because obviously she's for Congressman Velasco. Why were they removed from their leadership? Sila ba yung pinariringgan ni Speaker kahapon na namumulitika daw at ginagamit supposedly yung kanilang posisyon to undermine the Speaker?
Ako yung kay Sharon, nakita ko kasi yun. In fact, isa yun sa mga sinabi kong complaint sa party list. Ang sabi ko sa kanila, kasi ako hindi naman ako kasama dun sa leadership ng party list block eh. Meaning, we have president, we have the secretary general, and then si Sharon was also, she's been there no, for the longest time. So parang sinabi ko lang, paano ngayon to that the leadership of the party list is very involved at very partisan doon sa naging laban, paano ngayon yung concerns ng mga kasama naming bago? Who will now conduit yung mga new members, yung mga bago, yung mga first termers, dito nga sa mga kailangan nilang mga proposals on the budget, syempre, may kanya-kanya kaming advocacy, may kanya-kanyang sektor. As to the others, hindi ko masabi, but si Speaker naman, nilinaw na nga niya, nag-qualify siya dun sa statement niya. Pero, unfortunately, isa to sa mga parabang pangyayari pagka ganitong may leadership fight. Talagang hindi maiwasan, may ganito talagang mga sitwasyon.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Mara. Next on our list is Sir Melvin Gascon of Inquirer. Sir Melvin.
Hi po, good afternoon, sir.
Afternoon.
Sir, I was limited to 2 questions, so bibilisan ko na lang po yung 2 question. First, yun po sa binabanggit ninyo na walang politika, budget muna, tao muna. So, pero bakit po, halimbawa, si Kong Mikey Romero natatanggal, si Kong, yung 3 pong chairperson sa tanggal din. So, yung pong binanggit na explanation ni Kong Mike kanina na may pinapanigan. Pero meron din naman pong pumapanig kay Speaker. So why should it be an issue for anyone, primarily si Speaker, na yung pong mga congresspersons may mga leanings po sila sa speakership contest? Why should it be an issue? Samantalang kayo po, halimbawa, very open naman kayo na kay Speaker. Bakit po magiging issue na may mga pumapanig naman kay Kong Lord? Since in the first place, term sharing naman po talaga yan. And hati po talaga yung loyalties, so to speak, ng mga congresspersons.
Melvin, ako mabilis na sagot lang. Alam mo, ako sinabi ko na nga no. Una, hindi ganun ang budget ko. And I can understand. Wala akong reklamo dyan. Talagang tanggap ko yan. I would think, even amongst the party list, kahit na kung tutusin, siguro, ewan ko, kung anong computation ng term ko, kung 4-termer ako, kung paano. Pero ang wala akong naging reklamo. Ako ang huli na nagkaroon ng komite sa Kongreso. Bakit? Kasi nag-actively campaign ako kay Madjo Martin. Tanggap ko yun. Ngayon, pagdating dito sa trabaho sa budget, ang point ko lang, trabaho na gawa namin. So, para bang ibahin natin yung usapin doon sa politika, doon sa leadership. As far as leadership is concerned, and I guess si DS Boyet and DS El Rey can answer that. Ako, ang alam ko dyan, parang ganito nangyayari. PNP, Liberal, Lakas, PDP. Okay, itong committee na to, divide natin, ayusin natin. Sinong gusto nyo? Sabihin ganito, ay, teka lang. Ito yung supporter ko, ito yung talagang, I mean, it's a leadership question. It's political. And kumisa naman, hindi naman ganon. Kasi sabihin, magaling to, tama to, yan ang ilagay natin. So, as far as I'm concerned, yung leadership question, I leave it to the Speaker and the leadership of the House. As far as the work is concerned, as Public Accounts Chairman, huli ako nilagay dyan sa I'm doing my job. Dito sa budget, I'm doing my job. And in the future, kung ano mga kailangan namin gawin, whether may speakership fight or wala, we will have to intelligently discuss the bills, fast track what we need to in order to revive the economy, and address the health concerns.
Just a follow-up lang, sir, a short follow-up. Are you saying na yung pong mga tinanggal ng mga chairpersons, they were complaining about their apportionment dun sa budget?
Hindi ko alam kasi yung iba pero kasi yung kay Chairman Sharon, alam mo si Sharon, ano yan masipag talaga yan. And talaga namang magaling si Sharon na Garin. Pero talagang nung nagpunta dun sa Malacanang, parang nagkaroon na ng kampo and I have nothing against that, no, kung anong political preference nila. Ang naging problema lang, they are part of the leadership of the party list. Yun ang pinopoint out ko. For example, si Caraps, no, si Congressman Caraps, involved, very much involved sa partisan fight dito sa speakership fight. Pero si Kong Caraps kasi hindi naman siya officer ng party list coalition Ang nangyari, yung party list coalition, kunyari si DS Mikey Romero, talagang nandun siya with the Lord Velasco. Si Sharon Garin was there with Lord Velasco. So, very clear na pumasok dun sa kung kanino sila and part sila ng leadership ng party list.
Okay. Sige, sir. Second question ko po, sir. Si Kong El Rey kanina, and ito binabanggit na po paulit-ulit pati si Speaker. Parang ang challenge niya palagi sa kampo ni Kong Lord is, if you have the numbers, then pakita ninyo. So, kami po, from an onlookers perspective, hinihintay ho namin talaga yung sinet nilang date, October 14, para magkaalaman na ho talaga. So, bakit po yung pong camp ni Speaker Cayetano ang nag-disrupt nung pag-flow ng normal proceedings ng Kongreso para po hindi umabot dun sa October 14. Kung talagang meron po kayong numero at gusto ho ninyong mapatunayan ni na Kong Lord na meron din silang numero, why did you not just wait for October 16, which is stated in the calendar?
Alam mo, Melvin, the mere fact na aprubahan namin yung bill on second reading yesterday is an indication that we have the numbers, no? Kaya yung sinasabi nila na bakit inintay, ba't hindi pa intayin yung October 14, 15? What for? Because as far as we are concerned, when Speaker Alan Cayetano offered to resign, and his resignation was rejected by more than a majority of all the members of the House. That is, as far as we are concerned, a fresh mandate. Wala nang pinag-uusapan as far as we are concerned. Wala nang pinag-uusapan term sharing dito. Sila na lang ang nag-i-insist ng term sharing because hindi sila nakaupo. And the only reason why para sila makaupo is to insist on the term sharing. Kami naman, as far as we are concerned, we have the numbers na reject na yung term sharing agreement. Si Speaker Alan Cayetano was given a fresh mandate. So if we are to follow the rules, there's only one way of unseating Speaker Alan, and that is not to insist on the term sharing agreement, but to file the appropriate motion sa floor. which is to declare vacant the position of the speaker and have the support of the majority of all the members of the House. Nangyari iyon nung inunseat si Speaker, kasi sinabi ni Mike kanina, nangyari iyon nung inunseat si Speaker Villar na Pentabella. Nangyari iyon nung inunseat si Pentabella ni SB. Nangyari iyon nung inunseat si JDB ni Boy Nograles. So, paglabanan talaga, at labanan, at alam niyo naman, labanan na talaga ito. There's only one way of wag na tayong let's call a spade a spade. Talagang labanan na talaga ito. Dahil kasi magkaiba ang aming pananaw eh. Ang pananaw nila meron pang agreement eh. Ang pananaw namin may fresh mandate na eh. So, isa lang ang pamamaraan niyan para mawala si speaker, pakita nila yung numero nila that they are supported by the majority of all the members of the House because that's the only way of doing it. No other way.
Sir, doon po sa speech ni Speaker noon pong last week, he himself admitted na doon po sa pag-uusap nila ni na President Duterte doon sa Malacanang, ang nabanggit po na date is October 14. Before they parted ways, there was a mention of October 14. Is that not accurate, sir?
In fact, ang linya nga ni Speaker, there was no such agreement. Yun ang nangyayari sa kanila. They are insisting na October 14. Kaya nga ang sinabi ni Speaker sa kanyang kung ganun din naman pala, edi in-offer niya na nag-resign siya, nag-offer siya to resign noong September 30 pa lamang para kung merong may posibilidad na nanalo si Speaker si Lord Velasco, then he will be the speaker in charge of shepherding the approval of the 2021 General Appropriations Bill.
Thank you so much, sir. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Sir Melvin. Next on our list is Miss Victoria Tulad of GMA7. Miss Victoria.
Hello po.
Hello.
Hi po. Question po for Kong Boyet. Sir, na-mention nyo na nga po na based on House rules, walang nangyaring illegal or violation doon sa suspension yesterday. Pero can you comment lang po doon sa statement ni Kong Lagman? He said na it violated the Constitution kasi kailangan daw na neither house during the sessions of Congress without the consent of the other can adjourn for more than 3 days.
Well, totoo na meron sa Constitution na nakalagay na neither house, meaning Senate and the House of Representatives cannot adjourn for more than 3 days without the consent of the other. Sabi nila, there is a violation of the Constitution kung mag-adjourn ng walang consent. Assuming for the purpose of argument that nag-suspend kami ng session yesterday without the consent of the Senate. Does it work as a violation of the provision of the Constitution? Ako, I say no. Why? Because ang interpretation ko diyan sa period na yan, yung sila sabi consent of the Senate for more than 3 session days na adjournment, ang tawag diyan is a directory provision. Although the Constitution stated shall not, di ba? Shall not. Pero directory provision. And what is the meaning of a directory provision? It is merely a directive o parang guidance, violation of which does not amount to disregard of which does not amount to any violation na wala kang, you don't have to correct anything. Ang tawag doon discretionary provision. Just to give you an example ng mga discretionary provision. There is also a provision in the Constitution that mandates the Supreme Court not to decide a matter submitted for decision within 24 months or 2 taon from the time that a subject matter or a case is submitted for decision. Sabi ng Constitution, the Supreme Court shall within 24 months or 2 years from that day it is submitted for the decision, decide on the matter. Pero there are so many cases na kahit na submit na for decision, wala pang desisyon ang Supreme Court for more than 24 months. So in one case, na challenge ang Supreme Court na it is guilty of violating the Constitution because mandatory ang nakalagay eh. Sabi, shall decide within 24 months. Ano sabi ng Supreme Court? Supreme Court na to ha, na nag-i-interpret the meaning of if there is doubt. She is the final arbiter of the meaning of a law. Sabi niya, no, this is a mere directory provision. Meaning, kahit na beyond 24 months namin, does not necessarily mean that we are violating the Constitution. So, ganun din kami. Kung hindi man kami humingi ng consent sa Senate, then it does not mean that invalidated ang ginawa namin. No, because yun directory provision. If they disagree with my position, na ang sabi nila ni mandatory, sabi ni Edsel, mandatory, ang sabi ko directory, who will resolve this doubt, this issue? It's the Supreme Court, hindi kami. Then, takbo sila sa Supreme Court. And by the time na tumakbo sila sa Supreme Court, aabot na yung legislative period ng legislative calendar namin na by that time, we are already officially on recess.
Victoria, just an addition to that, in fact, si Boyet nga, si DS Boyet, we were discussing yesterday. And, very clear what we did was a suspension of our session and not an adjournment of our sessions. And DS Boyet has been clear on that kasi, yun nga, siya kagad ang tinanong ko eh. Sabi ko, pare, ano ba tong interpretation dito? So, to my mind, aside from what DS Boyet mentioned, this was not an adjournment. It was only a suspension of our sessions. And as stated, very clear din na we will resume based on the legislative calendar.
Saka if we are to be strict about it, di ba? Ang sabi ng Constitution cannot adjourn for more than 3 days, no? So, nagsuspend kami between yesterday up to November 15, no?
15.
So, what is the difference between suspend? Ito kasi medyo technical na to. What's the difference between suspension and adjournment? Ang suspension, kahit na katulad yan ang budget, we began deliberating on the budget last month, the other Monday.
September.
Limang araw na, di ba? Sa plenary, 5 araw na, plus dalawa kahapon. So, pero araw-araw yan nagsususpend. So, for our purposes, yung nangyari last week, hanggang kahapon, isang session day lang yun.
Session day.
Session day lang. So, if we are to be strict about it, dahil nakasuspend kami from yesterday up to November 15, meron bang dumaan na 3 session days? Wala. Because all of that will be considered as one session day. Yun ang difference between, para maintindihan nyo, anong ibig sabihin ni Mike na hindi kami nag-adjourn. Kasi ang adjourn, iba yon, it terminates the session day eh. Ang session day, ang suspension of session, the session continues until the next adjournment. Yon.
Ikaw nga nagpaliwanag nung kahapon eh. Inulit ko lang.
Sir, isa na lang po. Sabi rin ni Kong Lagman na violate yung Concurrent Resolution 11, indicating na from October 17 to November 15 lang dapat ang break. Quick reaction lang po.
Well, katulad sinabi ko kanina, directory lang naman yan. Directory. And being a directory, insofar as we are concerned, nakasuspend na kami, but insofar as the Senate is concerned, they can still continue with their session. And being a directory in character, wala namang cause for alarm because it does not mean that we have to undo everything that we did because of what happened yesterday.
Thank you po.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Victoria. Last on our list is Ms. Ria Fernandez of TV5. Go ahead, Ms. Ria.
Hi, Kongs.
Hi.
Yes. Kong, my question is totally not related to the budget or speakership issue. It's for Congressman Defensor. Sir, just your reaction or statement that ABS-CBN shows will be aired on Zoe TV.
I have no problem with that because ito naman magiging block time ang arrangement nila dyan. It is not utilization of the franchise. It is the franchise of Zoe and they are buying into it. So ABS-CBN is still a corporation and it is well within their right to do so. So I have no problem with that. Magalit sa'yo si Sandro Ria, oh. Diyan pa naman si Sandro.
All right, Kong. Thank you.
Okay. That
Okay.
ends today's press briefing. Would you like to say any last words from Congressman Boyet or Congressman Mike before we?
Anyway, maraming salamat sa time niyo and we hope that we were able to answer all your questions at we emerge more more intelligent about the subject issues at hand.
Kang Mike?
Yes. Well, una sa lahat, marami din salamat sa pagkakataon mapaliwanag yung mga nangyari dito sa atin sa Kongreso. Inuulit ko, yung kanina din binanggit ni DS Boyet kanina na may mga trabaho kami at meron din politika. Sana nga lang, no, itong nangyaring politika sa loob ng Kongreso, hindi makaapekto sa marami naming kailangan pang gawin sa Kongreso. After this approval of yesterday, nagtayo ng maliit na komite, kailangan pa rin namin tapusin at ayusin yung budget. And hopefully, no, masagawa namin yung pamamaraan. Kasi nakikita naman natin yan sa Senado eh. Sa Senado, simple lang naman yung labanan eh. Magpipirmahan, papakita, oh, magkaroon na tayo ng smooth transition, nasa akin na yung mga pirma. Nangyayari lang kasi siguro dahil sa Kongreso, marami kami, medyo nagkakaroon at saka na-open up yung labanan talaga sa media. And it's actually affecting the institution of Congress. Sayang, maganda ang ratings ng Congress. Just recently, si Alan Cayetano lumabas, no? Maganda yung trust ratings niya. And I'm sure Congress as an institution also did well. Hindi ko palang nakikita yung survey, pero ako naniniwala na maganda yung nagiging performance ng Kongreso. And I hope na ma-resolve talaga kagad to ng maayos at magawa namin trabaho namin. Dahil in the end, it's not about me, it's not about Alan, Boyet, or El Rey. It's about our country, yung ating bansa, na nasa gitna pa naman tayo ng COVID at kailangan nating ayusin pa rin yung mga problemang pang-ekonomiya at problemang pang-kalusugan. So maraming salamat. Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat.
Hey, thank you so much, Deputy Speaker Boyet Gonzales and Chairman Michael Defensor. Thank you so much for media friends. Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
Thank you, sirs.